There's a lot of discussion about hybrid protocols. Hybrid protocol is essentially where you take a base injectable, usually a long ester, call it testosterone enanthate. You have your HCG, you have your DHEA, you have whatever add-ons you have in your protocol. But then on top of that, you add a fast-acting ester or modality like test cream with the purposes of bumping up libido and erection quality to make your protocol complete. And I think there's really two options of things at the base level that you could bring in to a hybrid protocol to make a hybrid protocol on top of a long ester injectable. And they are testosterone cream and testosterone propionate. I mean, those are the fast-acting available stuff to us that we could implement. Question usually becomes, though, when somebody's sitting down at the protocol trying to get libido and erections back and looking at both of those modalities, which should I use? Should you use prop or should you use cream? Is there a better modality so that you can shortcut your way to actually getting the libido and erections that you want on TRT and you don't have to waste time? The answer to that question is yes, there is a shortcut modality. So let's weigh this out. Prop versus cream in a hybrid protocol. Let's talk about how to build a hybrid protocol for libido and erections. And I'll give you, based on data, my opinion on which of those modalities of TRT to apply on top of your injectable to give yourself a long overdue bump in sexual function. All right, before we start the video, guys, Low Cortex Labs, which is my company, is a TRT guidance, sexual dysfunction resolution, performance optimization company. Again, coaching right now, the cheapest it's ever been. This is the most unprecedented discount I have ever run. There are 17 slots open and they are filling. Here's the code COACH discount. It saves you thousands of dollars. Those of you looking to fix EQ, libido, you've got PFS on TRT, not on TRT. This is the time to book with me. When these slots are filled, the discount closes and they go back to full price. One-on-one coaching, boys. You get me every day, every other day in your corner, crafting your protocol, targeting resolution of your issues regarding sexual function on TRT. Link and code is down in the description of this video. We'll be on the fact-finding call as soon as today. Source list, if you want to go at it alone, get everything imaginable, including high-potency DHT. That is 30% off right now. The code is source30. It's on the screen and down in the description of this video.
Bachelor wants to have an extra boost, an extra kick in his sex drive, and perhaps his 100, 150 or 200 milligrams of testosterone are not enough on a weekly basis in order to satisfy his lover or her lover, then he could apply that the day before the day of intercourse, some extra cream. Otherwise, I find it no point mixing together. Even the same compounds that have different half-lives. So I tell them choose either the one or the other and go this all the way.
All right, so those were our buddies from the Balance My Hormones in the UK. And those guys are great guys. But what Doc was saying there is if you want an extra bump in libido, just put a little bit of extra cream on top of your 150 milligrams of testosterone cypionate a week and run that for a weekend. Do it a day before intercourse so the DHT peaks and then you go at it. But I have found a different approach that's very, very fucking effective. And that is, as I said in the beginning of this video, to have a stable injectable of testosterone cypionate or testosterone enanthate with your HCG and your DHEA, and then on top of that, either a little bit of prop or a little bit of cream. The whole purpose of this is to infuse more DHT into the system, right? It's not always the case that you get the adequate amount of DHT specifically for sexual function, erections particularly, in an injection protocol. It's really difficult, right? Because you got HCG, you're trying to keep the testicles functional. That keeps all those 5-alpha reductase enzymes and the sex organs functional, producing DHT, which helps you, but it also tends to be estrogenic. So you've got to find the right doses that land you in the sweet spot generally, and then you add a little bit of prop or cream on top of it. Question really is, out of prop and cream, which is the better modality to add to make an effective hybrid TRT protocol? Let's look at both options. Okay, let's start with test prop. So you got testosterone propionate. It's a very, very fast-acting ester that peaks dopamine, tends to peak DHT, but also has the tendency to peak estradiol. Okay, you're not applying the test prop to the testicles where there's a lot of 5-alpha reductase enzymes and highly vascular skin. So generally, you're probably going to end up getting a little less of that DHT and a little more aromatization versus cream. But ultimately, you'd have to be on a pretty low dose injectable, your cypionate or enanthate, to make prop work with a hybrid protocol. And specifically, you'd have to have your injectable, your base injectable, at the level where estradiol falls in range. Then adding a little bit of prop, call it 5 to 7 milligrams a day or 5 to 7 milligrams every other day. Even though it will aromatize more, you run a lot less likely of a risk of it taking you over an estradiol if you're at those lower doses. So that's kind of the way that I would approach that. I've seen something like that work really well. You're at 100 milligrams test enanthate, you run 5 milligrams of prop every day on top of that. You got your 100 IU of HCG every day and your 20 milligrams DHEA every day. Success. You get enough DHT. It's not over aromatizing. You're getting nice peaks and troughs. You're getting more of the dopamine hit. You feel better. You're a little more anabolic and you have a successful hybrid protocol. But now let's talk about cream. Test cream is one of the best inventions in the world of hormone replacement therapy, like in my opinion, ever. Because of the highly vascular scrotal skin and the dense concentration of 5-alpha reductase 2 enzymes, you are able to manufacture a state of DHT dominance over estradiol. And you're manufacturing a state where you can peak on DHT within mere hours of application of testosterone cream. Because you never want to push the lever too far in the area of aromatization, because then you're just defeating the purpose. You can have all the DHT in the world. If estrogen's too high, your sexual function's not going to be as optimal as it could be. You want to apply the same approach. So let's run through protocols. The approach has to be your injectable must land you in terms of estradiol right around the sweet zone, preferably under 30 picograms per milliliter, which would mean the dose range of 85 to 120 milligrams of that injectable long ester per week, and preferably doing daily injections. So again, you continue to compound upon the fact that you're not aromatizing a lot by preventing those peaks of E2. Then though, the strategy I've seen work the best is the low concentration 100 milligram per milliliter test cream on top of your injection protocol, all the way down to starting from a quarter of a pump to a half a pump to a full pump. The doses are going to differ for people, so you guys got to kind of experiment and see what works. But there, let's say you started half a pump of 100 milligrams per milliliter cream on top of your 100 milligrams of testosterone enanthate per week with 100 IU HCG and 20 milligrams DHA a day. Well, then the estrogen's already in your range. You had a half a pump of 100 milligrams per milliliter. That there, if it's rubbed on the scrotum, is not going to increase the aromatization past your threshold. If it bumps up E2, you're probably talking about a couple points, inconsequential amounts of increases in E2. You're already in your sweet spot from the injectable, the low dose injectable. All you're really getting from the addition of cream is more DHT. And when estrogen's in the zone and you get a little more DHT, it's the recipe for good sexual function on HRT, believe me. So looking at the both of them, my answer, you break down the benefits of prop. Fast acting, dopaminergic, does certainly increase DHT, but tends to aromatize more than cream. But then you got cream. Aromatizes less because it's converting a lot to DHT in the testicles. So you're more in line with doing exactly what you want to do, which is not bump E2 over the range, but increase the DHT for sexual function. So when it comes to the both of them, prop versus cream, when adding a fast-acting modality onto a long-acting ester to make a hybrid protocol, the answer to which is best is test cream. Since I discovered this, I have put 17 people on that protocol. And without fail, the libido increases, the erectile quality especially increases. The sensation increases. The time to climax decreases, which is a good thing. You don't want to be sitting there forever. And the sensation of the climax increases as well. I mean, we have full success with these hybrid protocols. And guess what? In those situations, we needed it. We needed the extra cream because the low dose injectable was getting them in the E2 sweet spot, but giving them not enough DHT. So sex was like, okay, fine. A little bit of Cialis, okay. It's manageable. It's passable. But who wants a passable sexual system? You want it to be fucking awesome. I'm on such a protocol as well. So we got 17 people where it worked. It took some dialing in, but it worked successfully. I'm on that protocol. The way the extra DHT with estrogen for me being in range affects me is I'm popping steel rods just kissing my girlfriend. My sex drive is pretty high all of the time. And importantly, I'm getting enough DHT to contribute to that kind of masculine, cool feel. You're assertive and want to get things done, and you're happy because DHT is an antidepressant, effectively. But it doesn't mess with my hair. It's not messing with my hair. It's not enough DHT to give me loads of acne on my back or to trigger hair loss. Could you push the lever on test cream to the higher concentration stuff? Say you're using 100 milligrams testosterone, you got your 100 IU of HCG a day, you got your 20 milligrams DHA every day, again, landing you in the E2 sweet zone. But then you take the 200 milligram per milliliter stuff, the more high concentration, which means you're getting more testosterone, more aromatizable substance for estradiol, but also like a quicker peak, more DHT, more of that brain dopamine style, like hit of energy. If you want to run the high concentration stuff, you can try it, quarter of a pump, half a pump. I wouldn't go with the full pump because again, it's just a lot of substrate and it's going to convert to E2 either way. It's going to bump the DHT up, but you're pushing that lever. You don't want to increase the estradiol past the range that completely defeats the purpose. So if you want to try the higher concentration stuff, you're probably going to have to take the injectable down a little bit. Where the high concentration stuff works, which also works, this also works for folks as well, is using like 85 milligrams of the injectable. So call it 85 milligrams a week, Testosterone. You inject every day with a 5/8 inch needle in the upper glute. That's the best way. You got to get it into the muscle. Not a fan of sub-Q. You got your 100 IU of HCG every day, 20 milligrams DHEA every day, all in the morning. And then you rub your half a pump of 200 milligrams per milliliter test cream on top, right in the scrotum, right in the morning. Then, again, because you lowered the dose of the injectable down to 85, then it takes the estradiol lower, and you're less likely to take that E2 above the sexual sweet spot zone, while still providing the additional add-on DHT that you need. Boys, DHT supercharges people's protocols. And this is why hybrids are effective. If you look at the comparison between prop and cream will always win. Cream's always going to win because the thing you're targeting is less aromatization and more DHT. And out of prop and cream, you're a lot more likely to get that with cream. Question really is, though, why do these even exist? Shouldn't we be able to just inject 120 to 150 milligrams of testosterone cypionate, have a little HCG and DHA, run that every other day or 3 times a week, and ride off into the sunset and be fine? The answer to that question is no. No, it just isn't always the case. Some men are extremely sensitive to increases in serum and tissue estradiol, so they can't go above 120 milligrams a week. At the same time, it doesn't appear as if for everyone, injectables convert enough DHT specifically to be used in the sex organs, which cream would take care of. I think this is one of the reasons that TRT isn't just like a set it and forget a thing, and it doesn't just work for everybody. If you scour the forums, there are a ton of people with libido and erection issues on TRT. It's just a matter of not having the right balance of the metabolites. Forget about testosterone. Testosterone, boys, is for the muscles. It's for metabolism. It aids your heart. It aids your brain function. It makes you a little more confident and masculine. Testosterone is phenomenal. But ultimately, regarding sexual function, what really matters more is both functional testicles and the metabolites, DHT and estradiol. And it's not always the case that you can just use an injectable and find a dose that makes sense, that keeps estrogen in range, and you have enough DHT. In fact, a lot of times when people go down to these lower doses of the injectables, things are lukewarm, kind of okay, not terrible. I don't have ED. The libido works, but it's nothing to write home about. My target, both in coaching and in giving advice on this channel, is to give people information that allows you to be armed with the strategy to make sexual function supercharged. You want it awesome. You want to be horny. You want the erections to be crazy. You want to get steel rods when you're just looking at your girl. I've achieved that. I've helped a lot of people in a coaching capacity achieve that, and anyone watching can achieve that too. But you got to find the right balance of the added DHT while keeping estrogen in the sweet spot. And out of prop and cream in a hybrid protocol, you're more likely to do it with cream. So cream wins. At this stage, the only way to get test cream is to have it prescribed at a clinic, but luckily the clinics are very, very giving. They're okay with hybrid protocols. My cream that I get is from Defy Medical. They prescribed it to me because I wanted to try the hybrid protocol, right? I'd seen it work. I'd been prescribed cream in the past. I had a bunch of cream. Actually ended up running it and finding at my lower dose injectable of 105 to 112 milligrams a week, it all really oscillates. The extra cream was fucking phenomenal. So I just told my clinic that I had a quick consult, paid the $90 and, got more cream prescribed. So go through your clinic, Defy Medical, probably Merrick Health has it. A lot of these other TRT clinics do have cream. You want the option to have cream. I think everybody on injectables, you want the option to have the cream, because if you need to bring in a little more DHT to solve the problem, which is what most people need to do if they're not getting libido erections on lower doses, they can't tolerate AIs, you want to have that option. Of course, though, the other option is just get 20% DHT gel, which you can find in the source list. All right, as I said in the beginning, boys, biggest special that we've ever run. I mean, it's unprecedented. I've never discounted coaching this, but this is one-on-one coaching with me where we'll work diligently to resolve libido and erection issues on TRT, on cycle, from using hair loss drugs. It's one-on-one. I mean, this is what I do from 9 in the morning until 6 p.m. I for years now. Your sexual function and the resolution depends on the proper protocol. It is in my hands. I fix libido and erections for guys every day for more than a half decade. And right now, coaching with me one-on-one is 50% off. You're going to save thousands of dollars on every single coaching package. Use the code COACH discount. Watch the thousands of dollars come off the total. Book, and let's get on the fact-finding call as soon as today. LiveCortex.com. Source list, guys. If you want to go at it alone, and if you want access to 20% DHT gel and every test of every ester, all the ancillaries you can think of, stuff your clinic's not going to be able to get you, just buy Source List. It's 30% off right now. The code is SOURCE30. You can find it down in the description of this video. All codes and all links down below. Let's go. All right, the time has come for the completion of the video, and you guys have been, hope you got it. I don't know what I'm talking about. Hold on. What is wrong with this chair? God, every day now. Damn it. Sorry, get my shit together. Thanks for watching, boys. If you would just do me one favor and like the video, makes a huge difference to the algorithm. 13th day in a row. What's the money? I'll forget it tomorrow too, I bet. Let me just grab it. Sorry about that. Give me this! I'm gonna hit stop record. We're done here. Been an absolute pleasure hanging out with you, boys. Hope you're having a great week so far. Much more content coming every day this week, so stick around. Like the video. Like the video. Honestly, it makes a much bigger of a difference than I had initially anticipated, so please, if you would take a second to hit the like button, it'd mean the world to me. Otherwise, sub to the channel. Join one of the fastest growing TRT and hormones, specifically focused on sexual dysfunction, YouTube channels that is up on the internet right now. I'd love to have you on board. Otherwise, kick ass, rock on, and I'll talk to you boys on the next one.